So my name's Tim Meals. I'm running for county attorney for re-election. This would be my first full term. I've been in the Story County Attorney's Office for 23 years now, the last 3 years almost as the county attorney. A lot of people don't know I didn't go to law school right after college and law school right after high school. I decided that I wanted to work in a factory, had no plans at all to go to school. So I worked at Boone Incorporated in Ames. And that's in a company that made potentiometers. It's in the building that's next to Lowe's. Now I think Sauer Donfos is in there. I started there in 1979 when I graduated from high school. My family had lived in Ames since I was 12 years old. I went to Ames High School, graduated in 1979. My dad was a school principal. My mom worked for the National Farmers Organization at the end of her career. But when I started at the factory, there were close to 1,000 people that worked there, and some people had worked there for 30, 35 years. I started out on the line on the graveyard shift, simple job making $4.07 an hour. I got married shortly after I started there, and we bought a small house in Gilbert after a few years, and I had 2 kids. I ended up working at the plant for 11 years and probably would still be there except for the plant closed. That was a period of time when the United States was kind of deindustrializing and a lot of the work was being shipped overseas, which is what happened to my job. So the next job that I got, I was a maintenance man at a hotel, the Gateway Center. Paid less than half of what I made at Bourne's, and I was really struggling financially. And after about a year and a half of doing that, my older brother came by my house and he said, "We got to talk." And he said, "This isn't sustainable for you. You're not going to be able to continue to do this for very long because you're not making enough money to make a living on." And he said, "Have you ever thought about a career change? Have you ever thought what would be your dream job?" And I thought about it for a minute, and I really didn't know. I hadn't considered it. And I said, "Well, I think being a lawyer would be kind of a cool thing to do." And he said, "Let's talk about that." He'd gone to Iowa State University and had a degree in computer science and an MBA. And he pulled out a legal pad and he said, "Let's sketch this out and we'll go through the steps it takes for you to become an attorney." And so we sat at my kitchen table at our little house in Gilbert, and he sketched out the steps that I would need to take to become an attorney. And the first step would be to go to DMAC and earn a legal assistant degree. And that way I'd have a marketable degree if I didn't go on to undergrad. And then I would go on to undergrad at Iowa State University and get a degree in sociology. And if I didn't get into law school, I would still be able to have a marketable degree. I only applied to one law school, and that was Drake, because I didn't want to move my kids. And I ended up getting into Drake Law School, and 7 short years later after that, I had a law degree. My plan was to be a prosecutor, and I wanted to be an assistant county attorney in the Story County Attorney's Office. So I had applied there, and I had applied in Marshall County Attorney's Office. And I didn't get the job in Story County Attorney's Office, but I got the job in Marshall County Attorney's Office where I was a drug prosecutor. After I did that for about 5 months, there was another opening in Story County Attorney's Office, and I applied. And I started there on January 2nd, 2000. Since I've been in the office, I've handled a general indictable caseload. I've prosecuted everything from OWIs, public intox, assaults, sex abuse cases, child abuse cases, ongoing criminal conduct, money laundering, and up to murder cases. I really enjoy my job. I'm looking forward to doing it for another 4 years. The voters vote for me, and I'm happy to be here talking to the Ames Chamber of Commerce. Well, since I've been county attorney, we have streamlined our operations in that we've implemented a new case management system called Carpel by Prosecutor. It integrates with the Iowa Courts electronic data management system, in that paper no longer has to be transmitted once a criminal charge is filed in Story County. It's electronically filed by the officer and transmitted to our office's data management system so that we don't have to use paper to do that anymore. That eliminates some of our paper files and organizes our filing better. We also have instituted a discovery management system whereby instead of transmitting discovery to defense attorneys through compact discs and paper and so forth, they're downloaded by law enforcement into a file server system where we send a link to the defense attorneys, and that way the defense attorneys can just download the material straight from our file sharing system. That way we don't spend a lot of time and effort copying compact discs, copying paper, save on mailing costs, saves on labor, and it's been a real help for everybody in the system. Well, one of the projects that we started working on in Story County is a mental health court. We held our first meeting in September of this year actually, and brought together a lot of the stakeholders in the system. We had people from the judicial branch, from law enforcement, from the local service providers all meeting together to formulate how we can institute a mental health court system in Story County so that we can move people who come into contact with the criminal justice system because they're mentally ill and have committed non-violent offenses and simply aren't suitable for jail or prison, to set them up with case management services and coordinate with the various agencies to ensure that they get the services they need so that they don't come back into contact with the criminal justice system again. We work closely with local law enforcement, providing them advice and investigations and trainings. We have an attorney liaison assigned to each one of the local law enforcement agencies that meet with them periodically to discuss any issues and training, changes in the law, other things that might be of interest to them. We also provide 24-hour on-call service to a law enforcement agency so that there's an attorney on call 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So if they have any questions concerning an investigation or a charging decision or changes in the law, there's somebody available to do that for them. We also meet once a month with the Chiefs group. That's something that I do, and we do that every month so that everybody can meet and stay on the same page and talk about cases and changes in the law and other issues. Well, first I think you have to have a reputation as a good place to work, and then you have to offer a competitive wage to get people to come and work for you. And once you do that, you have to have an environment that's supportive and provide them with the tools and the training needed to do their job. We have a team environment in our office, and I have a coaching management style. And I try and provide the tools necessary so that people can do their jobs efficiently and effectively, and continue to update their training and provide them personal development so that they can grow in their careers. Wages have traditionally been an issue in Story County for our office. We've kind of become a training ground for Polk County Attorney's Office and the Iowa Attorney General's Office, where people come and they'll get a couple of years training with us and then move on to these jobs that have a lot higher pay scale. Recently Story County did a compensation study, and I requested that the Board of Supervisors increase our top pay so that we can come close. We can't come all the way, but we can come close to providing the kind of salary that encourages people to stay and not move on just after a few short years. So between having the kind of team environment where people like to come to work and get the training and the career development that they need along with wages. My goal is to create a destination office where people come and stay and work and have a career. Well, we send our attorneys to conferences and trainings to keep them updated on the law, and support staff as well. We send them to conferences and trainings to update them on how to work efficiently. There are two major trainings that we attend every year. The Iowa County Attorneys Association puts on those trainings. They're a fall conference and a spring conference. Those are geared specifically to assistant county attorneys and county attorneys to update their continuing legal education credits. We're required to get a certain number of those every year. And we also attend the Violence Against Women Conference, and then any other trainings that are available, we send attorneys to keep their training updated on a continuing basis.